It's news that's clear and to the point. From KRIS 6 News, this is 6 News at 10.
We have continuing coverage of the 3 rescued boaters after the Coast Guard suspended their search for 3 boaters who had been missing for a week. The men surprisingly turned up after a heroic rescue. The 3 men were rescued last night after going missing off the coast of Matagorda 8 days ago. They were found 180 miles east-southeast off the coast of Port Aransas and brought into the port around 2 this morning and reunited with their families. The men are said to be doing okay thanks to one good Samaritan. These 3 men will return home to their loved ones after being stranded at sea for over a week.
And they were apparently picked up by a Good Samaritan about 180 miles off the Port Aransas jetties.
The Coast Guard says that Good Samaritan was this man, Eddie Yacklin, who happened to be sailing his boat, the Affordable Fantasy, near an oil rig when he made a startling discovery. And he captured the whole thing on video.
We was pulling up to the boat, and we could see all 3 guys were standing up there hollering at us and everything. And as we eased up there, we asked them what their name was.
Yacklin says he put in a call to the Coast Guard and didn't know it at the time that those men were 28-year-old Curtis Hall, 43-year-old Tressel Hawkins, and 30-year-old James Phillips, who went missing off the Matagorda coast 8 days ago after setting off for what they thought was going to be a short trip. The Coast Guard called off its search Friday after scouring 86,000 square miles of water with no luck. Yacklin says he saw the men's boat capsized and he knew they needed his help.
We said at that point, we said, come on, get on the boat. We didn't know who they were at first, so we said, come on, get on the boat. And man, as soon as we said it, all 3 of them just dived in the water, and there wasn't no stopping them. They was coming on board.
The men were brought to Port Aransas, which is 130 miles from Matagorda, early Sunday morning. All of them refused medical treatment, even though Yacklin says the men had only 1 cracker and 1 beer to split each day they were out at sea. And their lips had become so sunburned that they could barely drink. Yacklin says this rescue was a sheer twist of fate, nothing short of a miracle.
Something was right that we went to that rig, that we left a week early. We were supposed to bring the boat back next week. I mean, something just, God was watching after them.
And the 3 men survived at sea for over a week. Thomas Piland continues our team coverage on how Tressel Hawkins and the 3 other men survived.
Tired and sunburned, on Saturday, these 3 men enjoyed their first cooked meal in over a week. Tressel Hawkins, James Phillips, and Kurt Hall survived for over a week on 1 cracker a day, 2 beers, and a drink of water.
We were just going to try to get away for the night, come back the next day or the next afternoon, and actually go down there and try to catch a couple of marlins.
But somehow their boat overturned last Friday when the men were asleep. Hawkins says he woke up around midnight and was the first one to realize something was wrong.
So I stepped my foot off, and I had water at least up to my knees, and so I'm running around frantically trying to get everybody up, and we're trying to get the water out as fast as we can, and within a minute of 5 seconds, the boat just tumbled over. It capsized right there.
The men then had no choice but to sit on top of their overturned boat, wait, and hope to be rescued. Eddie Yacklin, the man who rescued the fishermen, says for those 8 days at sea, the 3 men only had 1 life jacket and 1 ice chest. He says the men sprayed deodorant on their bodies to relieve the pain from their sunburns. By the time they were rescued, they had used up every flare they had on board. They managed to wave down Yacklin with a T-shirt.
We kind of knew that we were going to be all right, but we had to force ourselves and discipline ourselves to maintain that long haul.
Thomas Piland, KRIS 6 News.
And for Yacklin's full unedited interview and more video of the story, head over to our website, KRISTV.com. Well, we had some severe weather earlier today near Portland and Gregory. From where we go to meteorologist Dave Frazier for the latest. Dave?
All right, Crystal, thank you very much. Right around 4 o'clock this afternoon, we had some severe weather pop up right here in the Corpus Christi area. We had 2 tornado sightings. A gentleman called a little while ago. He said he even had a nice water spout right over the bay. So severe weather, and you can still see on our first warning 6 Doppler radar a lot of showers between Corpus Christi and Brownsville, which is good news. We certainly do need the rain, and as we cool down as we head into the late hours on this Sunday, you can see how those showers taper off a little bit. Now we are expecting more the same for tomorrow here in South Texas. So the good news is we are anticipating a little rain, still a few showers falling in the Corpus Christi area, but we might see some severe weather again as well for tomorrow. I'll have that forecast coming up in a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Dave. A 21-year-old man is dead tonight after police found him lying on the sidewalk early this morning. Officers say they found the man's body around 2 this morning in the 7800 block of Falcon Street with a large stab wound to the middle of his chest. It appeared the man had been stabbed near the intersection of Falcon and Moose and then walked a distance before falling. Witnesses in the area described hearing a disturbance at around 1 in the morning and claim seeing a white truck drive off in a hurry shortly after. Police believe the attack was due to a possible argument involving in-laws. 3 capital murder suspects out of Victoria were arrested last night here in Corpus Christi. Several CCPD officers assisted U.S. Marshals, DPS, and the Victoria Police Department. The 3 men in their early 20s were arrested following a traffic stop on Highway 44 near the International Airport. Police say the suspects were involved in a murder that occurred on the 23rd of August in Victoria, and they've been in Corpus Christi since that time. We have new information on the Compass Bank robbery. The man police believe robbed the bank on Friday afternoon has been arrested. Police say video surveillance, which first aired on Friday, led to numerous calls about a man who fit that description. He's seen here handing the bank teller a note claiming he had a bomb with him and demanding cash. Police say he then fled the bank on foot. An arrest warrant was obtained yesterday evening and the suspect was located and taken to jail shortly after. Police say the man is a transient. President Obama is wrapping up his vacation today and getting back to work in Washington. Getting health care reform passed is the #1 job, but with the death of Senator Ted Kennedy, the president has lost a powerful ally. Brian Moore has the story from Washington.
The president is leaving behind the peace of a Martha's Vineyard vacation, heading back to Washington and the battle over health care.
And may he rest in eternal peace.
A day earlier, President Obama said farewell to a man he called his mentor. Senator Ted Kennedy was also a critical ally in this all-important health care fight. The day after he was buried, crowds of people gathered to pay their respects to the senator at the Kennedy gravesite at Arlington National Cemetery. On Capitol Hill, lawmakers from both parties are trying to figure out what the loss of this legendary power broker might mean. His Republican friend, Orrin Hatch, predicts it'll be harder than ever to reach a deal.
Many of the so-called progressives in the Democratic Party are insisting on this public or Washington government-run plan, and the vast majority of people out there in the public, they don't want that.
The Senate Finance Committee's bipartisan Gang of Six has been struggling to reach a compromise, but Republican Mike Enzi appears to be closing the door.
The Democrats are trying to rush a bill through the process that will actually make our nation's finances sicker without saving you money.
Democrats have lost their filibuster-proof majority, but they still believe they have the numbers to pass a bill without Republican help. Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid says it's not his first choice, but if Democrats can't get a bipartisan bill, they can get a partisan one. Brian Moore, NBC News, Washington.
And back at home, there's some road work that might delay your travel plans tomorrow morning. At 9 tomorrow morning, crews will close the left lane of eastbound SPID from Bates to Old Brownsville Road for lighting work. Crews should be finished by about 3 tomorrow afternoon. Switching gears, starting at 7 tomorrow morning, crews will close various lanes along Highway 77 from FM 772 to Kennedy County line for pavement work. The closures will wrap up at 6 tomorrow evening, but they will be repeated through Friday. And speaking of driving, our pump busters found the cheapest gas selling for $2.35 a gallon at the Raceway in Calallen in the 13,000 block of FM 624. If you spot a cheaper price, give us a call.
You're watching KRIS 6 News at 10 with Crystal Jenkins, First Warning 6 meteorologist Dave Fraser, and Tyler Garrett Sports. Here's what's coming up next on KRIS 6 News.
Georgia police continue their search for evidence in the murders of 7 people, and a plane crash in Poland takes the life of 2 pilots.
New Kentucky Grilled Chicken is...
You're watching KRIS 6 News at 10.
From back, police in Georgia have expanded their search for evidence in the murders of 7 people. Their bodies were found in a single mobile home yesterday in Brunswick. 2 other victims are in critical condition. Officers are now searching 2 miles from the scene for any clues. Police say they have tentative identities on all of the victims, but did not say how they died. They say they have a possible person of interest, but no known suspects.
This morning, there is cause for concern. I'm not going to mislead you or the members of the public. You have a right to know we do have concern, and we do. And I would not say don't let your guard down. And I wish
Police in California are intensifying their search of the house where a kidnapped girl was held for nearly 2 decades. Authorities have been combing the yard of Philip and Nancy Garrido, looking for clues into the murders of several prostitutes. The Garridos are facing numerous charges for kidnapping J.C. Dugard back in 1991. Meanwhile, residents of Dugard's hometown gathered Saturday night to celebrate her rescue. The crowd included many who always believed Dugard would be found alive.
And we all band together when she disappeared to do everything we could to bring her home, and we've been here ever since, hoping that this miracle would happen.
The Mexican army has arrested 3 members of a drug cartel that are responsible for more than 200 murders. The military says the 3 suspects are members of the Linea cartel, which helped authorities confirm there are 2 organized crime cells operating in Ciudad Juarez. The suspects are accused of killing a local businessman as recent as last week. He was gunned down after dropping his son off at school. An explosion in Pakistan near the Afghan border set fire to at least 12 NATO trucks. Western military supplies that move from Pakistan to Afghanistan are facing more disruption over the past 2 weeks, from roadblocks to militant attacks. These supply routes are vital to Western forces battling the Taliban. The U.S. sends at least 75% of supplies for the Afghan war through Pakistan, including 40% of its fuel. Israeli aircraft bombed a tunnel in northern Gaza today. The tunnel was being dug around a mile from Gaza's border with Israel. It was dug by organizations that were not connected to Hamas. Gaza residents surveyed the damage today. 2 people died today when a fighter jet crashed during an air show in Poland. The Russian-made Su-27 jet crashed behind the trees, sending a plume of smoke rising into the sky. Both pilots inside the plane were killed. Authorities haven't said what caused that plane to crash. And when we come back, we'll tell you why the lap band weight loss procedure is not working for some people. And first warning, 6 meteorologist Dave Frazier will have a look at your forecast. Dave?
All right, Crystal, thank you very much. It was a busy day in the Weather Center. We had some severe weather roll through a little bit earlier, but will it last into this upcoming work week? I'll have your forecast coming up.
Injured in a trucking accident, called 9.
Welcome back, everyone. It was a very busy day in the Weather Center, so let's get right to your forecast. Our almanac, that's where we're going to start. 101 degrees, your official high temperature in Corpus Christi today. 92 normal, 104 the record, so well above normal again for today. Now, rain, 0.00 inches. Obviously, we had some rain in the area, but officially at the airport, didn't see a drop, but we did have some nice rain here in South Texas. Overnight low 77 degrees, the record 69 set back in 1942. All right, that is your almanac. Now we're going to take a quick trip out to the tropics where we find Investigation 94. I've had a few phone calls about 94 earlier today. Investigation 94 is a very weak system. It's not expected to intensify anything more than a tropical storm, and it's going to stay out over the Atlantic. Our friends over in the Leeward Islands might see a little bit of rain, but that's it for Investigation 94. Not a problem for us here in South Texas. Now, here in South Texas, we did have some weather thanks to this system right here. It's a stationary front winding its way through our forecast area, touching off showers and thunderstorms. Speaking of showers, check out this video we took early. It's great to see the rain here in South Texas. I'm going to get out of the way so you can see this. It is raining. It was raining actually pretty hard in some areas. We did have severe weather right around 4 o'clock this afternoon. We had tornado warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings, but look at that beautiful rain. I know it's not very exciting for a lot of people, but here in South Texas, it has been so dry. Every single drop of rain is certainly a good thing, and it's beautiful to see. And you know, there's more rain in that forecast. I'll have more on that coming up in just a sec. But first warning, 6 Doppler radar. Look at this. Still raining in South Texas, especially near Hebronville and Falfurrias. Let's zoom in a bit closer where we find the heavier showers right along Highway 281. But for the most part, since we are cooling off as we head into the late night hours here in South Texas, those severe showers have tapered off. But we could see them flare up again by tomorrow afternoon when we heat up during the day. Still a few sprinkles in the Corpus Christi area. Like I said, it certainly is good to see some rain here in South Texas. Now, the rain has cooled us off a little bit as well. Temperatures currently in the upper 70s, lower 80s throughout the coastal bend. So temperatures looking pretty good. And the wind is kind of strange for this time of year. Out of the west between about 5 and 10 miles per hour. Usually we have that breeze coming up from the southeast, but since that stationary front is rolling through, that's changing the dynamics a little bit. Clear skies right now in Corpus Christi, 78 degrees, relative humidity 76%, wind is out of the west at 5 miles per hour. And here's your future tracker. There's our stationary front lingering over South Texas. Outflow from this front is touching out those showers, or it touched out those showers earlier this afternoon, and more the same expected for tomorrow. This front is just going to linger right over Brownsville as we head to the day on Monday, and then more the same expected for Tuesday. So Monday and Tuesday, isolated showers and thunderstorms are in your forecast. So here's a 7-day. 96 to high Monday, 96 again Tuesday. Isolated showers and thunderstorms, perhaps more the same like we saw today. Those severe weather indications bumping up in the afternoon. Now, of course, Dale Nelson will be here. He'll tell you all about that. He'll keep you updated. And we are expecting your temperatures all the way into next weekend to be in the mid to upper 90s. All right, that's your forecast. Crystal, over to you.
Thanks, Dave. Australian firefighters continue to deploy water-bombing aircraft today to battle two major fire fronts near Sydney. The water-bombing helicopters were used as residents decided whether to stay or evacuate as flames burned closer to their homes. Those who decided to stay hosed their houses and cleared combustible material from gutters. Well, back in 2005, most of New Orleans was flooded after Hurricane Katrina overpowered the city's defensive barriers. The broken levees caused extensive flooding and damage, nearly isolating the city, which lies below sea level. The flooding left the city uninhabitable for weeks. Katrina swamped New Orleans on this date in history, August 30th of 2005. When it comes to weight loss surgery, the lap band procedure is one of the most popular, but in many cases, doctors say the weight either never comes off or soon returns. Grant Stinchfield has a story.
When it comes to weight loss surgery, thousands of patients like Stephanie Gaida are complaining about the popular lap band procedure.
I vomited nearly every day for 2 years.
Insisting for them, it just doesn't work.
2 years later, I had never lost any weight.
Not even a single pound, and her lap band was supposed to change her life.
I felt like failure. Everybody I know was looking at me going, well, there she is. It's another diet thing that she tried, and it didn't work. I even had physicians say, the band didn't fail you, you failed the band.
Dr. Wade Barker is a weight loss surgeon. He often performs the lap band procedure.
There's a group of patients that do not respond to the band initially.
Because of that, he believes there is a better alternative.
My personal preference is the bypass.
Over the long term, he says, the gastric bypass surgery is much more successful than the lap band.
With the bypass, you go from a football-sized stomach to a stomach about the size of your thumb.
I went from a size 24 to a 10 in about 8 months.
She opted for a gastric bypass following her lap band failure.
It was wonderful. I mean, the surgery was not a big deal. They did it laparoscopically, so I had 5 little bitty incisions.
Stephanie lost over 100 pounds.
You can't rely on surgery alone to fix the problem.
It's true. Weight loss professionals all agree, even after weight loss surgery, psychological counseling is a must.
Until you address what's underlying the overeating, the weight can just come back on again and again.
Stephanie says her involvement with weight loss support groups that meet daily is the key to controlling her food addiction and keeping the weight off.
You have to get a handle on that because there's no doubt in my mind that I'm a food addict. I always have been.
Now she says she's conquered those food addictions thanks to counseling and, of course, her gastric bypass surgery.
And that was Grant Stinchfield reporting. Sports enthusiasts from around Europe gathered on the muddy banks of the Elbe estuary in Germany today for the 6th annual Mud Olympics. Thousands of visitors and 400 athletes from Germany, Denmark, and Belgium trudged around knee-deep in mud for some good, clean fun. The amateur athletes competed in sports like mud football and mud volleyball. Proceeds of the competition will go to support a cancer charity.
Coming up, we are Kingsville bound. The Hoggies putting on an absolute show last night with some good old-fashioned hard-hitting football. We will recap the win with the exclusive highlights and sounds you'll only see right here after this timeout.
Pizza Hut's new stuffed crust pan pizza.
It feels awesome. It's unbelievable, baby. It's awesome.
Set the tone a lot. It's a big motivator game. Motivation. Hey, big team, baby. Big team.
Oh yeah, you know there was a big-time party in Kingsville last night after the Hoggies rallied from a 14-point hole to defeat third-ranked Delta State in their home opener. And with the win, it's safe to say that Hoggie football, well, it's back on the map. Turnovers and penalties nearly doomed blue in the first frame as a fumble and an interception led to 2 Statesmen scores. But the second, third, and fourth frames, well, they were very, very much different stories. Billy Garza, he finally found that rhythm he had been looking for through the air as the offense piled on 28 points, racking up over 506 total yards. Garza had 300 via the air. This right here, this was your go-ahead score courtesy Connell Davis, the GP product. It was his first touchdown as a Javelina, and boy, oh boy, was it a beauty.
I made the catch, and I turned upfield, and I noticed that there was one guy free, and I knew that I wasn't going to just settle for, being tackled, so I just lowered my shoulder and let him have it.
Our team, it builds the confidence up, so, we got a lot of confidence now, but we got to stay humble and know there's better teams in this conference than that team, so we got to keep our heads up and just ball out.
Now overlooked in the win was the Hoggie defense, who allowed just 3 points to the group referred to as the Delta Force offense. Last year alone, the Statesmen averaged nearly 500 yards a game, but last night they managed only 234, led by Jimmy Sadler McQueen and Jeff Edwards. The 24th-ranked Havs imposed their will all night long. This interception right here by Edwards, it all but sealed the deal, giving Texas A&M Kingsville that national notoriety that they have so been yearning for.
We knew if we lined up right and we gave great effort and did our assignments, we had a chance to, I wouldn't have thought that it would be to hold them to 3 like that. But our guys played well, and I'm excited for them.
And still to come, Astros and Diamondbacks. Houston 4.5 games off pace in the NL Central, meaning they need wins and they need them fast. We've got a lot more highlights after this timeout.
Weather can change in a matter of moments.
Welcome back, everybody. More bad news for the Astros as Mike Hampton will not pitch again this season. He's now planning to have surgery on his pitching shoulder in both knees. Prior to that, he was 7-10 on the year with a 5.30 ERA, but he's been on this disabled list since August the 18th. His teammates, meanwhile, in Arizona looking to bounce back from Saturday's 9-zip shelling, but not much of that going as planned. Tied at 1 in the 6th until Justin Upton does this. His 22nd homer of the season. D-backs would get themselves out to a 4-3 lead. Then in the 9th, tying run at first, Jason Michaels trying to be the hero, but this gets scary in a hurry. Former Astro gets hit by the pitch. That's Chad Qualls. Check it out. Looks like it hits him in the head. Let's take another glance at this. You can actually see that it hits his mitt, so he is okay. He protected his head with the mitt, but he dislocated his knee instead on the final out of the game. Just a crazy finish. The Stros fall in this one, 4-3. That is your final score. The Hooks, meanwhile, they pick up a much-needed win, 11-10. They are now 8 games back with 8 games to go. So if you're good at miracles, send one the Hooks' way, please, because they might make the playoffs if they win all 8 and, all the stars seem to align. And finally, the Little League World Series, where the kids from San Antonio were playing for 3rd place. All they needed were 3 outs in the final inning, but this happened. Raimundo Barones' 2-run shot closed the book on this one, folks. Mexico would rally to beat San Antonio in a heartbreaking 5-4 decision. California, they actually won the entire thing today, winning 6-3. So San Antonio 4th place. There's nothing wrong with 4th place when you get to that level.
Nothing wrong with that. Thanks so much, Tyler. And Dave Frazier joins us for a last look at weather. And Dave, it's really been so hot, but we've got some rain on the way finally.
Yeah, it was nice to see that rain today. You saw that commercial with Dale earlier. My WR100 weather radio was going crazy in the weather center today. We had severe weather. We had tornado warnings, severe thunderstorm warnings, but we got through it okay. It was nice to see some of that rain. 96 the high for tomorrow, 96 Tuesday, 95 on Wednesday. Isolated showers and possible thunderstorms once again Monday and Tuesday. So there's more rain in the forecast. That's pretty good. Overnight lows will be in the mid-70s.
And that is your news for this weekend. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Good night.